And for me, this isn't even work anymore. This is such an exciting presentation for me to give to you guys because we learned so much from you all, and that's why I'm so excited. And so some of these terms that we're going to teach you are terms you might not have heard before, but I'll bet you that they're things that you're already doing. So I'm really excited to teach you some kind of new terms, then maybe get some ideas from you all, and you all have a ton of experience in this kind of thing that we're going to discuss, and we'll give you some ideas. And I am very interactive, so I'm going to definitely be asking you guys a lot of questions and seeing what your experiences are. I'll tell you guys a little bit about our sponsors who've been so supportive of our projects. You can see our sponsors over there. Karen introduced you to the team that's here. There's a couple of team members who helped us with this who are not here. But the Florida Developmental Disabilities Council and Guardian Trust are our sponsors for this project, and we're so thankful because this project, we've been working on it for a few years, and some of the stuff that we came up with we're in particular very excited about. Perfect. Thank you, Eddie. That's why we keep a tech guy around, because I need help unlocking my cell phones. You guys are probably much better at this than I am. So we're going to talk to you a little bit about what you're going to learn today, and then we're going to start getting more in depth and start learning a little bit more about each of these things in a few minutes. But we're going to talk about making decisions, and what does it mean to make a decision? What are the responsibilities? What are the consequences, right? That's kind of the scary word associated with making decisions. But also, who can you talk to? Who might be able to help you? Because I know that I don't make any decisions by myself. I have a husband, and if you couldn't tell, the reason that we have the same last name, I know we look exactly alike, he's my dad. So he's shaking his head, but he is in fact my dad. We're going to talk about civil rights. What are your civil rights? These are legal. These are laws. What rights are you entitled to, or what rights are given to you, and what rights can you give to other people, or can you have people help make decisions with? We're going to talk about legal status, and Karen's going to come up and talk to you guys about that a little bit later, and she'll go and tell you more information about how to try and figure out what your current legal status is, and if that changes, because that can change, right? So we're going to learn all about that as well. And then we're going to talk about getting your rights back, which is very specific. We call it restoration, and Karen's going to discuss that with you later as well. So we did our questionnaire, and these are some of the terms we're going to teach you about. We're going to start with self-advocacy. Have any of you all heard that term before? Yeah? No? I see some no's, I see some yeses. People who said yes, I saw who you were, so I'm going to come and find you in a second and ask you. Or at least we're going to put a picture up, and maybe the picture will help kind of give you all some ideas about what self-advocate is, and then we'll talk about what it means and how you can be a self-advocate. You heard Sandy over here. It's so weird. I try not to call him Dad because I recognize that he's not everybody's dad in here, but I don't often get to call you by your first name. But you'll
hear about this later.
We're going to talk about circles of support. What is a circle of support? What does that term mean? And who's in our circle of support? Who do we want in our circle of support? Who should we be a little bit careful about inviting into our circle of support? We're going to talk about abuse, neglect, and exploitation. Have you all heard those terms before? Sometimes they're bundled together. People say abuse, neglect, exploitation, all these kind of fancy words for things that we need to be really careful with. And let me tell you, every single thing that we're going to talk to you all about, I've said this at all the presentations that we have done, but I've always wished that I had something similar given to me when I was around your age, and I like to think of myself as not too far away from your age. I won't give you actual numbers, but let's say I'm close to your age.
Closer than we are.
But I wish that someone talked to me about these, because what often happens is we become an adult and these things just happen and no one really talks to us about it and tells us the consequences or what we need to look out for, things that are really important that we need to highlight. So we're going to talk about abuse, neglect, and exploitation, what those mean, and if you see it happening to somebody else, what you can do, if you see it happening to people around you. It's a really important topic, so we'll cover that a little bit later. Karen's going to talk to you guys about your legal status, like I said, and then we're going to talk about developing abilities. And for us, that means we're going to look at those rights that we're discussing a little bit later on, and how we can learn more about each of those individually. So when you look in your workbook, this big orange book, we've broken it down for you guys. So if you say, hey, I want to learn more about this, we're going to go look at that section, and then maybe there's some activities, or maybe you're going to come up with some of your own. And that's what I really like about this, is it's totally for you all to write in, to put ideas in, to have your supports come and help you and say, hey, maybe this is what I did. And I do that with my dad all the time. I say, you know, I have this problem and I can't really figure it out. And he goes, well, let me tell you my experience with it. And so being able to start that talk and ask for help if you need it. And then last, we're going to talk about that restoration of rights, and Karen will come up and talk to you all about that a little bit later. So we're going to go ahead and start with self-advocacy. Where were my head nodders? Who's heard that term before? Yeah? Do you know tell me what self-advocacy means to you. There's no wrong answer. We're going to do a conversation.
To get what you need.
To get what you need. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Anybody else? Yeah?
It's basically standing up for what you think is right.
Absolutely. Both of those are correct. Both of those are absolutely correct. So you guys already know all of this stuff. And even if you haven't heard that term, right, it might be a new term for you, so you can tuck it away in your back pocket so you have it now. But that's exactly what it is. It's standing up for yourself. It's standing up for things that are important to you. So let's look at it a little bit. We're going to break it down. If you're looking in your book, it's on page 7. The page looks like this. Your big orange binder, it's page 7. I'll give you guys a couple of seconds to get here. And I love that picture. It says, raise your voice for what's right? And what's important to you. It's not only being able to advocate for ourselves, and advocating is exactly what was said, it's being able to say what's important to you and standing up, but it might not just be about yourself, it might be about a topic that's important to you. So we're going to do some examples, and I'm going to get some examples from you guys. But let's talk about what it actually means. So that term means being able to explain your disability, explain your needs, being able to say to somebody, if you need help in certain areas, being able to say what it is that you need, right? Or being able to communicate what it is that you need. Some people are able to, or might need assistance with if somebody uses a wheelchair, right? So you might need to say, I need to find a place that I can go in that has a ramp, right? So it's being able to stand up and advocate for yourself and being able to say what it is that you need. But it's about knowing your needs and your strengths, the things that you do really well, things that are important to us are often the things that we like talking about the most. It's also knowing areas that you might need help, but it's also knowing in those areas that you might need some help, what kind of help is it that you need, okay? It's about knowing your rights, which we're going to talk to you guys about later, but it's also knowing about your responsibilities, because when we turn 18, we have different responsibilities as an adult than we did when we were under the age of 18. And because of that, we have to keep in mind, right, that there's going to be different consequences for some of our actions, but also there's a lot of room to learn from mistakes that are made. So we want to encourage you all to become active in being your own self-advocate. And you can advocate for other people, right? Who here has seen somebody get bullied? And we're going to talk about that a little bit later. If you've ever seen someone get bullied, right? Yeah. And bullying's a big problem. You can stand up and be an advocate for that person too, and say that that's not okay. And it's really important that we find our voices and find what's important to us. What's important to me, it may be different from what's important to you. Okay? It's speaking up for yourself. It's knowing where to get help or who to go to. And you might not know. There's a lot of times where I'll go and say, you know what, I need help on this and I don't even know where to start. So I might talk to somebody. I might go online, look up some answers. But there's a lot of different places you can go to learn more information, and we're hoping that this book will give you guys some ideas. If this is something you want to learn more about, we've found some things that maybe we think will help you, but it's a start. You all can go find lots of different resources and things that are able to help you.
Like for example, when you turn 18 and you say, I'd like to have my own bank account. And so, how do you do it, right? You just walk into a bank and, I mean, I'd like to ask my friend, I haven't opened a bank account lately, how do I do it? Do I just walk into the bank? Do I go up to the teller who's behind the window, or do I talk to one of the people sitting in their offices? Do I have to bring my driver's license? What if I don't have a driver's license? Mm-hmm. So just a thing that you might want to do when you're 18, because now you can have your own bank account. You know, you might want to ask people how to do it, or, you know, just say, you know, what should I be thinking about? Simple things. And that are hard if, you know, if you walk into the wrong bank and they say, oh no, we don't do that.
Yeah.
Your friend would say, oh, go to the bank I go to and talk to Mrs. Miller. She was very nice and helped me open the bank account. Mm-hmm. You know?
Yep. And we'll do some examples like that too, to get you guys, to get your wheels turning, right? Give you some ideas, and then you all might have ideas that we haven't thought of. And let me tell you, and every time we do this presentation, people always give us ideas that we didn't think of. And I'll tell you, who here is like super into cell phones and all these like different internet games and apps and all that kind of stuff, that's an area that you guys can throw out some things to us that maybe we don't know about. It's also, self-advocacy is asking for what you need, using what's available to you. So using information, using the people around you, those resources that you have to help you reach your goals, right? It's about listening. It's about listening to the opinion of others. Sometimes I'll bounce ideas off my dad, and I might not choose to take every single one of those, but it's good to hear someone else's experiences, because everyone's experience is different. And I want to know, if he went through the same kind of decisions that I did, what experiences did you have? What kind of problems did you come across, or what worked, right? So, like he said, if we're looking at bank accounts, what bank did you go to? Who did you talk to? Those kind of things. And it's being able to work with others to reach an agreement. If you guys must hear all the time, I remember always hearing the word compromise, right? Always trying to reach a compromise, always trying to find an understanding for what's important to you. So now that we know what a self-advocate is, we want to do a little activity, and we're going to do one example here, and then we're going to take an example from you guys, and let's try and see if the activity works the same, okay? So we're going to use bullying as an example, and I know it's kind of a negative example, but it's something that I think a lot of people have experience with, at least seeing somebody else who's been bullied, right? Yeah, at some point. So let's look at this a little bit, and we're going to use an example. We're going to call him Bob, okay? So Bob, he has been at his school for 9 months, so he's kind of a new student at school. and his peers keep calling him names and criticizing him. And he's not sure how to handle the situation. So let's talk it out, okay? What's the issue? Anyone? Yeah.
Now read it.
Yeah.
I like the
Yep, right there. It's on the page. It should be on page 8. So what's the problem that Bob's having? He's getting bullied, right? He's getting bullied in school. People are hurting his feelings. They're criticizing him, right? Why is that important?
Because first of all, you shouldn't be bullying other people.
Absolutely. It's super important because you shouldn't be bullying other people. What does it do? Yeah.
Well, you should tell someone right away.
Yeah, to absolutely tell someone right away.
You should want to bully somebody if you don't want to get bullied.
Absolutely. It's about the golden rule, right? Treating others how you want to be treated. And that's why it's so important. Yeah.
And don't bully anyone if you don't want somebody bullying you.
That's right. Exactly. So that's why it's so important, right? And what happens when someone gets bullied? It hurts their feelings. It makes them feel bad. It's sadness, right? And it makes you feel alone, or makes that person feel alone, right? So what are his experiences? Yeah.
Do you want me to read that?
Sure.
Okay. Bob has a good work ethic. Sorry about that. He has not been criticized by others at his current job. He is always willing to help when asked.
That's great. That's perfect. I saw another hand up over here. So his experience, right, is that he's been criticized, he's been bullied. And what can he do? Yeah.
Bob can't share his fears with someone he trusts. He can't talk to others in his circle of support who has work what's the E word?
Experience.
And ask for tips. What's the S word? Strategy. Bob and work for work-related and resource.
Absolutely, right?
Right.
Bob can talk to other people. He can ask experiences. What else can we do for getting bullied? I heard someone say it earlier. You can tell someone, right? We can talk to our teachers. We can talk to our parents. It's really important because we want to stop that cycle, right? And so, look what you all just did. Through just answering these couple of questions, right? What's the issue? Why is it important? What experience did he have? How can he resolve it? You all just together figured out about self-advocating about an issue by taking these questions and saying why they're so important. So let's take another one. Let's do an example. Who here likes animals? Yeah? What kind of animals?
I like dogs.
Dogs? Yeah, me too. I'm a huge dog person. I have 2 dogs. My dad has 2 dogs. I'm trying to get him to get 500 more dogs. I think everyone should have 1,000 dogs and just have a giant farm full of dogs.
I have
Right.
one dog,
You have 1 dog?
and that's my little buddy.
Yeah, exactly. They're the best, right? They're part of your family. Yeah. Yeah.
I love dogs and cats. I have my mom and I have 2 Great Danes. Oh, and I also love sea animals.
Sea animals.
Whales and dolphins, all those sea animals. The other sea animals.
Yeah, they're really interesting, right? I absolutely love them, and dolphins are incredibly
I love those.
Yeah, they're super incredible. Did you know that they sleep half their brain at a time? That's a little fun fact. They sleep half their brain at a time. Yeah.
I like wolves.
You like wolves?
Yeah.
Whew. Whew. Wasn't expecting that. Wolves are the coolest looking animals. I'm terrified of them. I want to see them at a beautiful zoo in a natural environment at the zoo where I can be on the other side of the glass But they're so cool, aren't they?
Yeah. They,
Lions, even scarier than the wolves. Oh, whew, yeah.
I have a dog and a cat.
Mhm.
Well, actually a kitten.
Oh, I love kittens.
He's 6 months.
Oh, that's the best.
And I like Black Panthers.
Black Panthers, my goodness. Woo. We got lions and panthers and wolves. I was waiting. There's no one like bunnies? No one likes bunnies anymore? You like bunnies? Okay. And no one likes guinea pigs? Good. Yeah, so let's talk a little bit about it. So let's talk about an important issue. Let's take adopting dogs, right? So we have these big shelters where you can go and you can go adopt dogs. So let's say that issue is your important issue to you, and I think it's important to a lot of people, right? We want to make sure that they find their forever homes. We want to make sure that they're healthy and taken care of. So what's the issue with dogs in shelters that need adoption? I think I just said it, but what's the issue? Yeah.
because they have no home or family who loves them.
That's right. They need to find a home with people who love them, right? And why is that so important? Yeah.
Because like their owners, like mistreat them.
That's right.
They can take care of their than they did.
Yeah, and it's important that we find a good, happy, loving home, right?
And also when you adopt them, they want to make sure that they're going up to the right people.
That's right. We want to make sure that a dog finds a good, happy home, right? So we don't want to have 1,000 dogs in a really tiny apartment on the 40th floor, right? Because maybe they might not be the happiest there. So we want to find a good place. And what experiences do you guys have? Have any of you guys adopted a dog?
We do.
Or your family? Yeah? You adopt in January, so a new dog. It must be exciting, right? What are your experiences for any of you guys who adopted a dog? Yeah.
I have a dog.
Mhm.
When I leave the house,
Yeah.
and then this husband,
Mhm.
this dog,
Mhm.
I got her years ago.
That's awesome, and that's what I'm saying, right? So we all have different experiences with animals, right?
I rescued mine.
You rescued yours, and we all have different experiences. So how can we help the dogs that are in? And yeah. Oh, we got a hand up over here. Sorry.
I actually just run away sometimes.
Oh, really? Yeah. So what do you guys do?
I usually go and catch them.
Yeah, my dog does that too. He doesn't mean to run away. He just gets really excited that he gets to go run and see a whole new world with me and my husband chasing him down the street. Trying to get him.
They don't listen, and they're both girls.
Oh, they're both girls. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, I got a husky.
Oh, they're so pretty. They almost look like wolves, right? Huskies, they kind of look like wolves.
She does so much.
Yeah.
She knows how to climb the fence.
Ah, yeah, that's hard if they know how to get out. Yeah.
Huskies are ancestors to wolves.
Ah, there it is. Okay, so now we know. There we go. So they're ancestors to wolves, right? And they look very similar. They're really pretty. They have those pretty eyes and all the different colors on them, right?
It's just annoying. She likes to run away so much. I'm usually like behind her.
Yes. Yeah, usually. See, that's why I have a little small dog, and my husband's dog is much bigger, so that if the dog tries to run away, I can grab her, because she's not going to make it very far. But, so let's talk, so how can we help the animals that are in shelters, right? We can find homes for them. We can tell people about it, right? If a lot of the shelters for dogs, they advocate, right? They go out and they say, we have all these wonderful dogs, they need homes. They do fundraisers to get more resources to help support them, right? And so that's a type of self-advocacy, what we just did. We did it again, right? We talked about what the important issue is to us. Finding homes for dogs who are in shelters. Or finding homes for wolves in shelters. I don't know if there's a wolf shelter, but if there is, again, I'm going to be on the other side of that fence. And talking about why it's important. What can you do? What can I do? How can we all contribute? How can we all help a problem that's really important to us, right? So I think on that note, do you guys have any questions? We're going to talk a little bit about circles of support, and I'm going to let the good Dr. Milton come back up here to talk to you guys about circles of support.